Welcome to Just in Time for Coffee. My name's Justin Belante, and I like coffee. Today, we are going to be discussing the overall arching theme is going to be mindset when it comes to sales, marketing, business development. And then we're going to go ahead and move into sticky note shenanigans here. That's going to be a fun segment. So I think that's pretty much going to cover the show for today. Again, my name is Justin Belante. I am co-founder of Titan Placement Group, chief executive officer. Really, I'm a recruitment consultant by trade. Been in the industry now for a little over 10 years. I have learned a thing or two. That's it, just one or two things. Wanted to hop on a live platform, demonstrate, my capabilities, offer any insight that I can, basically to anyone who's listening. So today we're going to just be covering a different topic, and then we're going to switch over to, and every time we'll talk about the sticky note shenanigans. That's a segment that basically really fun, a little personal, a little more intimate, little tips and tricks and things that I wrote to myself over the years when it comes to recruiting, sales, business development, mindset, you name it. So today, wanted to go over mindset. So mindset is really, really, really important. I used to not think of it as important as it really, really is. But I've learned over the years that mindset's everything. So, for me, got to make sure that I have a positive mindset when I'm, conducting, sales, marketing, and business development, really, and just in general through life, right? I think, there's really a couple things that you have control over. Definitely have control over your attitude and your effort, right? So if I can come in with a positive attitude every day, a good mindset, and I bring it every day as far as my efforts concerned, have a little bit of faith, things usually work out, right? So when it comes to mindset, I think it's crucial, and I think it's something that it's not just a hot top, you know, um, you know, part of pop culture. I think it's something that we really should focus on as a whole. So pivoting to there, I'm really going to be going into a couple things today when it comes to sales. So I've been racking my brain around this, ever since we, started Titan Placement Group. Not only, because I am a player coach, I want to make sure that I'm performing at excellent levels myself, but I'm trying to, help grow this thing, so looking at different ways. And my time, is limited these days when it comes to, growing the business. We've got 20 team members now. Doing my job, whether it's recruiting, account management, or business development, that has its own unique challenges. Being a husband, being a father, training for a half marathon, all these things apply, towards my time constraints. And because my time's so limited, I've really been leaning into a lot of automation over the past couple of years. And I'm a big fan of automation at scale. We Titan Placement Group have an MMQQ approach that we've adopted from some of our vendors. Multi-channel, multi-touch, quality and quantity approach, right? So we're going to use that in all areas of recruiting, sales, business development, you name it. But at the end of the day, I tend to fall back to the things that I know how to do, and I tend to know how to do pretty well, or I know what works for me, and that's cold calls. I'm a cold caller. Getting in there, getting past the gatekeeper, having conversations with the decision maker, the hiring manager, the influencer, the department head, HR, whomever, having a conversation with them about their need. If it's pressing, fantastic. If not, just someone to meet, get someone in front of you. Now I have the opportunity to invite them on the podcast, which is really exciting. So I'm going to be looking into exploring that. But wanted to cover when it comes to sales, kind of what I'm kind of coming up with. And it seems like for me, like what's working right now is a mixture of, cold calls. So, for us, we like to target, open positions, right? So I'll call organizations, call a few people that I think would be, the hiring manager, influencer, department head, HR, what have you, and see if it's a pressing need. If it's a pressing need, great. Let's have a conversation about it. Are you working with recruiters? Okay, how's that going? If it's not going so great, then hey, let's have another conversation. If you haven't worked with recruiters, I'll go into kind of what we do. If you are working with recruiters, I'll still probably go into what we do just because we do things just a little bit different. That's kind of our mindset on a cold call. On the automation side, I'm really digging the fact that I can do like a couple hours of work, get a nice spreadsheet together, or go through LinkedIn and really target people that I think would be those decision makers, hiring managers, influencers, department heads, and HR folks, and send them messaging. Whether it's calls, LinkedIn messaging, phone calls, what have you, and kind of create more of a sequence or a campaign rather, and just kind of set it and forget it. Right. That's been really cool, really exciting. However, I still feel like there's plenty of organizations out there that need our services, or could really benefit from our services and aren't on LinkedIn, right? So if you're using these like LinkedIn automation tools, you're just missing out, on those individuals. So what I'm doing right now is when I'm building my lists is I'll do a quick search on that organization on LinkedIn. If they're on LinkedIn, I might put them into more of an automated campaign. Although my workflow is exactly the same, whether it's through an automated campaign or a real personalized one-on-one approach. But I put them into my workflow, if they're on LinkedIn, right? If it's a real big account or account that I think an enterprise account or, software sales that they say, then I might go and do my real targeted approach. But if they're not on LinkedIn, I'm not just skipping that individual these days. These days I'm picking up the phone, calling them. When it comes to cold calls, I think it's like a skill, and like any skill, it's got to be maintained, right? So you got to prove some practice, whether that's role playing, or just kind of getting in there and doing batting practice, right? Whether it's consistent reps, which I think is important, a certain standard, time blocking kind of thing, making sure that you're consistently doing it on a consistent basis, will help you get better at it. When it comes to the automation, I think it's important to also do that on a consistent basis. I know there's a lot of things with when it comes to automation, you might find yourself like if you take a day or two off, something life happens, right? Because it happens. You might find like a massive to-do list, and that becomes challenging. When it comes to to-do list, I have some words of wisdom or unsolicited advice that's worked for me. I'll just go in there and just chop some wood. I know I'm not going to chop down the whole tree, but I'm just going to go in there and do as much as I can within a certain period of time, and then move on from there. But yeah, do the automation stuff can get a little bit monotonous, but I think if you're doing it on a consistent basis, just going in there and chopping the wood with a mixture of that and cold calls, especially if you're doing, recruiting, sales, business development, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's working for us. And it seems like this is a type of, sales that's really working for anybody. And reality is, you got to sell. Whether you're a recruiter or not, there's always a sale happening, right? Either people are selling themselves on why they should use your service, or you're selling them on why they should, or they're selling themselves on why they shouldn't use their service. So there's a sale happening. Just really think about what kind of sale that you want to happen. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee here. It's really hot, I think, so we'll see. Woo-wee! I've been doing French press coffee. I switched over. We've got a drip coffee maker. Had it for a few years. It seems to be going out, I guess. The other day, I was like, let me just do a French press. My wife's got this cool electric kettle where you can click French press 220 degrees, and then go ahead and grind the beans immediately. pour the water over there. It's delicious. Requires no sugar, which is awesome. You know, you get a lot of flavor when you do French press. It's got more caffeine in it, but it's so dang hot. So I take the lid off. Let's get these Yeti. These Yeti things are awesome. They keep it nice and warm or cold, but they keep it so dang hot that I got to take the lid off, let it go. So, pivoting a little bit to marketing. Marketing is the next topic I kind of wanted to cover. Marketing is really, in my eyes, you know, a real long-term, you know, approach. And there's so many different facets to marketing these days, especially with social media. But as you know, well, we're here now too. LinkedIn, you know, is a really good source still for business development, marketing, brand awareness, that kind of thing. So I'm a big proponent of posting regularly. I know I could probably have a little bit more of a strategy to my content. That's something I'm going to be working on this year. But I mean, I'd be lying if I say it's not working. It didn't work. You know, like my silly little fruit of the day posts work. You know, and I think I stopped doing it, you know, super consistent for a little while, and I noticed that there was a bit of a lull in my, you know, attitude and effort. Um, but when I changed those few things, it really made a significant impact. So doing it on a consistent basis has really helped. It's hard to post if you're not posting regularly. Thinking if I have any advice for that. Yeah, I mean, when I was in that lull and I wasn't posting for a little while, I mean, it was challenging. I thought about posting again. Um, there's, you know, a bit of imposter syndrome that always pops up. For me, there's always a bit of like maybe like too much self-awareness, you know, kind of, you know, self-doubt, if you will, right? Just kind of thinking like, well, you know, no one's going to like it or see it anyways. You know, what's the point? You know, there's no rhyme or reason to the type of content that I'm doing. These are the things that I'm telling myself. And that really held me back, you know, and um, the reality is, yeah, I mean, some days people aren't going to, you know, see it or like it or comment or share or whatever. And it might not connect with everybody. And I'm starting to really think that that's fine. I mean, that's cool. And the reality is anything on the internet lives forever, dude. So if I post it today and like, let's say for a month, nobody looks at it, but in like a year from now, you know, there's 50 people that got something out of it. I mean, that's freaking awesome, right? Somebody said in a podcast that I was listening to, talking about this subject, and they were talking about the term influencer, right? And what they were talking about is like if you have one follower, you have influence. So I think it's really important to think about that. I mean, if there's one person that watches your content, I mean, that's fantastic. Oh, I wanted to go into too, like when it comes to marketing, you don't necessarily have to do it on LinkedIn. There's so many different social media platforms. I'm learning that Facebook is still a really great tool for business right now. So there you go. But there are plenty of different forms of content. I'm starting to kick around a bit more of the video content. Obviously, that's what we're doing right now. Actually, this is live, so this would be actually considered a separate segment of content. So you have video, right, as an overall umbrella, but you have like live video. You have live video with one person. You have a live video with multiple people. You've got, you know, workshops, webinars, right? Those are all within the live category. On the video side, you've got long form content, short form content, clips, reels, TikToks. You know, those are all kind of in that little bubble. I think that's primarily it. But when it comes to video content, I mean, that's what I'm seeing. Also, you've got short form. You know, you got text, just text content. The reality is that everybody likes to consume content differently. Some days I'm watching a lot of videos. Some days I'm looking at some text content. Some days I really, motivated by a nice, cool picture, right? Or a quote, if you will, right? But these are all different forms of content. And um, Gary Vee's saying that you gotta do it all, man. You gotta get in there and you gotta really give it your all and you gotta do it all. You gotta be on all platforms. You gotta be omnipresent. So that's something that I'm working on myself. Here's what I'll say. Like, I don't know, really. I mean, I have a lot better of an idea of what I'm doing now, but when I first started doing this stuff, I had no clue what I was doing. And a lot of the days, I still feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. 5 minutes before this thing, I was on the floor right here doing breath work, thinking about like, how am I going to get this done? I got 5 minutes, but I'm getting there. You get in there, you do it, and it gets better. Momentum. That's what I was going to talk about. Momentum. When it comes to posting a content, whether it's LinkedIn, text, video, whatever, you find a version of content that's comfortable for you that you can start with. Make a post. Your first post, you'll have momentum. The next post will be easier. The third post, easier than that. You want to switch it up after the fourth post? By all means. You feel like you want to start doing this and that? Go ahead. I wasn't always really keen on doing video content, but I'm seeing that it works, and I'm seeing that I'm getting more comfortable being in front of a camera again. The production quality is getting better. I'm really liking this aesthetic here in the conference room. The mic's getting nice. I found out you can use your cell phone connected to your laptop to do 4K 60 frames per second video. So get that momentum, dude. Get out there, get going. We'll see here. I'm talking a lot. We'll pivot to business development. A couple things I was just going to cover when it comes to business development. It's not just about going out and selling your services or doing marketing. So you get those phones ringing, or get emails to you or calls to you, responses back to you to do business. But it's what happens when you actually get that business. Business development starts from the day that cold calls made. Really, the expectations that you set, you have to really honor and try your best to meet those expectations. Don't set the bar too high. And I think that can really help when it comes to developing relationships. The goal is ultimately to build rapport, build trust, build credibility, really be a subject matter expert, considered as a partner, so that way they value you. So that way, if you can help them, influence them, get the needle move forward, that's how you can get that done. But it all starts from really building that relationship. Then there's elements of client growth, right? You can, if you get into an organization on a certain role through a department head, department heads can introduce you to other department heads. Department heads can introduce you to folks in HR. Folks in HR can introduce you to other folks in HR, right? And through those referral networks, you can really generate a lot of business. So it's not just about selling your services, getting the client to sign the agreement, but it's about setting those expectations before they sign the agreement, meeting those expectations, and really delivering, a good quality service. Following up, getting routine feedback, improving your process, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. That's what we try and do over here. Wanted to go into, I don't know why I wrote this down too. I think it's kind of related. I think it is sort of too when it comes to business development. When you're first starting out, and you're just trying to figure out how to sell your services, business development might not be top of mind, right? Or really client growth, that kind of thing. One thing that really helped me and that I'm learning as an adult is so important is the power of a good support, system or a good support network, right? There are people in your life that would be more than happy to jump in there and be a part of that support system, support network for you. I think it's important, whether it's your friends, your family, your colleagues, your coworkers, your buddies on LinkedIn, having that support system, reaching out, networking, learning and growing from other people is so important. It's invaluable. I used to think I can do this all by myself, um, and some days I still feel that way. But the reality is, and what I learned is that you can't do it all by yourself, or you can, but you can only take it so far. And if I'm trying to get further than that, I need people in my life. And it's more fun for me. It's more fun for me to have people in my life. I've really enjoyed it. So having a support system is good. If you feel like you don't have anybody, that's out there to support you, um, I still have some open times on my calendar. More than happy to jump in there and be that person for you. All right, so 9 minutes. I guess we can cover a couple. I'm probably going to wrap it up before 9 o'clock too, because we have a meeting at 9 o'clock. So, blah, 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 blah. Let's see here. These are old ones. These are like newer ones. These are color coordinated. These are just a jumbled. So the color coordinated are like somewhere between the old ones and the new ones. Last time we did the old ones, so this time we'll do some middle road ones. Oh yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go and draw something from like the middle of the stack. Oh, some of them are color coordinated. Actually, these ones are. Oh, they are all. Oh, these ones aren't. They're not. Here. I think this is funny because we were just talking about it. So this is from like 5 years ago, dude. So you see that right there? It says mindset, skill set, and habits, right? These are things that you can control. You can control your mindset. You can control your skill set. You can learn, you can grow. Everybody can, man. And you can control your habits, right? Human beings are creatures of habits, right? You do not raise to your expectations, right? You fall to, your lowest standards. This is a good one. See this one right here? Think less, call more. Think less, call more. Call more, think less. Think less, call more, Justin. Get on the phone, dude. Stop thinking about it. I used to sit there and look at the phone number for like a minute. What are they going to say? What are they going to say? What if they say this? What if they say that? What if they do this? What if they do that? 99% of the time, boop. Hi, it's Justin. I'm calling about, it's in a voicemail, dude. I'm not talking to anybody. So think less, call more. Low and slow, baby. Low and slow. So this is something that my old boss, Barb Goldman, used to say to me when I first started recruiting. I am a very high energy individual, if you haven't caught on yet. And I tend to get really excited about a lot of things, and that's great. It's really good. Actually, it comes in handy when it comes to doing sales. Sales can be a transfer of emotion, and dude, boy, I got a lot of that. However, my emotions are higher, my energy is high. The pitch of my voice can be a little high too. That sometimes can be considered like anxious, over eager, if you will. And when you're doing business development specifically, I was trained that you want to be low. You want to have a low and slow voice. Low is a little bit more authoritative. Low sounds like someone who knows what they're talking about, and slow sounds like somebody who really is thoughtful about the words that they use. And you tend to listen a little bit more to someone when they speak low and slow. So that's a reminder to myself to speak low and slow. All right, we'll do one more here. All right, guys, this is important. Okay, celebrate success. It's important because I need to be reminded to celebrate success. This job's hard, and a lot of the time, the best feedback you got is when that commission check hits. But there's so much more to celebrate. on a day to day. There's so many small wins, and it's hard because that check's important, right? I got to get paid. I got a family now. I have a child, I have a mortgage, I've got 2 car payments, like, got to pay my bills, got to keep those lights on, right? Um, so yeah, I celebrate when the check hits the bank, but I think it's important to celebrate those small wins because, again, drawing it back to momentum, if you're celebrating those small wins, those are W's. A couple ways you can do it. There are things throughout the day, you can do just when it comes to mindset, skill set, and habits, right? The habits that you have, right? If you're willing to do a certain level of things every day, and you consistently do that on a day, whether or not you had this check at your bank or not, that's a W, right? You have more W's than you have L's in a week, then you're winning, and if you're winning, you got momentum, man. So get out there and celebrate success, celebrate those small wins. This is actually one of our non-negotiables here at Titan Placement Group. We have 26 of them. They rotate on a weekly basis, so we do them twice a year. It's a pretty cool thing. So that's it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Hope somebody got some value out of this show. Today we covered the overall arching theme of mindset. We talked about sales, cold calls. We talked about automation. We talked about marketing, the power of LinkedIn, content creation, the different types of content that's out there. We talked about business development, growing that client, getting those referrals. We talked about the power of a good support system. And then we wrapped it up with sticky note shenanigans, which we talked about mindset, skill set, and habits, thinking less, calling more, being low and slow, and celebrating success. My name is Justin Belante. This is Just in Time for Coffee. Thank you guys for coming. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye.